finally here. This is the Sega Genesis Mini. It's what I've been waiting for a while. And the Nintendo ones, they were exciting too, but I was a Sega kid growing up, so this just spoke to me on a whole other level. So what we're going to do in this video, we are going to, of course, unbox it. We're going to compare it to my original Sega Genesis Model 1 that I had as a kid, the Genesis 3, the PlayStation Classic, and we're also going to compare the controllers from the original Genesis models to what I have now to play with this. So that would be what's in the box, and of course a retro-bit 6-button controller, which is definitely a necessity with the fighting games, specifically Street Fighter 2. And stick around to the end of the video because there's going to be 5 games of what I wish was on this thing. And you know, we can't fit every game on here. I understand that, and there's reasons why these games aren't on there for various litany of reasons, but whatever. And most importantly and most interesting to you all would be, I'm going to be giving away one of those 6-button retro-bit controllers, and you might want to know how. So watch through to the end, find out how, and don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. It's going to help us out. Let's dive into it and unbox the Sega Genesis Mini. Alright, so as we kind of already went over, we're going to compare the Genesis Mini in size with the original Sega Genesis Model 1 hardware, as well as the Genesis 3. I do not have the Model 2, so I can't compare it with that. And then at the end, we'll compare the Genesis Mini size with the PlayStation Classic Mini size, because those are the last two that have come out. And it's good to kind of see how the hardware looks and how it feels. But mainly we're going to get into some games too, so the actual unboxing and comparing part won't be that long, but let's open this guy up. And I know you've probably seen a lot of other people do this plenty of times already, so hopefully the gaming part of it will be the interesting and new stuff for you. Let's open up. Of course, you got the cable here to power it on, and unlike the PlayStation Classic, this does come with its own power supply, which is awesome. Instead of having to, well, everyone's got a phone, so you can just do that. Yeah. Oh, of course, we're going to compare all the controllers too, by the way, and as I already mentioned, we're going to be giving away one of them too, and we're going to open this up immediately. And I had one of the red ones, the red variant rather. I have it actually in one of my drawers right now, but I never remembered it ever working. I just happened to have it. And this feels just like it, looks just like it, even has the same seal on the back. And again, I'll get the controller at the end to kind of compare those as well. But got 2 of those right out of the box. And amperage wise, I'm not sure what this gives off voltage wise. Let's see if it says 5 volts, 1 amp output. Not too much to power that. And the other controllers are going to be in here. We'll just set that to the side since we only need one to test. Here's the coup de grace. We'll wait a second for that. And of course, here's the free HDMI cable. Awesome, always include those. Probably won't need that either. So the package in there, and before I open it, of course, you got 40 games plus the 2 bonus titles. You got Gradius and Tetris for the first time on the Genesis. And it's a pretty stellar lineup. Of course, there are some games missing, and I want you to stay tuned at the very end. So once the credits roll, I will pop up 5 games that I would have loved to see on this. For certain reasons, they aren't, whether it's licensing, pretty much licensing, and of course, just, you know, in general, they just didn't want to add them. But I'm gonna be playing for sure. We're gonna go over Sonic again, a bit of Road Rash 2 because this was a personal favorite growing up, and I'm surprised to see that it was announced to be on there. That aside. Moment we've been waiting for. Woo! Look at that bad boy. Bam! Looks good. And you know what's really cool is you got that really off maroon color on there, which is very unique to the Genesis. It's really cool to have that. Alright, so reset button is clicky. I believe there is some kind of something does happen with that. I do believe it does bring you back to the menu. Of course, the headphone slider does work on here. There's no headphone jack. Never actually used it on my original Genesis. Here on the back, of course, you got the, get into focus, you know what that is, HDMI and power in, and you got your 2 USBs. And the PlayStation Classic, which I'll go over in a second, has these in there as well, just like all the other mini systems, but that's pretty much how you were able to get into it and mod it. And it'd be interesting to see what they do with this, if they even attempt to. Of course they'll attempt to, but how it'll look and what they do, what they add, see what kind of emulators they might get on there, what kind of just programs in general. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. You kind of see there, you got the original Genesis Model 1 on the left. That is the actual true original Model 1. You had the high definition graphics on top, and they remodeled it after that one for the Mini. And the Genesis 3 is pretty close in size, actually. So the Genesis 3 did have a much smaller form factor. If I remember correctly, the 32X was not compatible with that. Of course, 32X you could use with the Model 1 and 2, and then the Sega CD you could also use with the Model 1 and 2. But speaking of the Sega CD, in Japan, and some content creators got a like a tower power, so it kind of emulated the the crazy stack, and I'll show a picture as I'm talking about it on this. But really cool. It'd be cool if they allowed it for purchase in the US. Right now it's not planning to. In Japan they are doing it, but that'd be kind of cool to have. I thought it would be even cooler to have this actually work. So this is where the Sega CD would be attached to on the original model, and it'd been cool if they allowed that to actually have happened, so then they could maybe release like a separate peripheral to add some like Sonic CD on there and some other Sega CD classics, and even some 32X games they could have put on board, I think, but they decided not to. Maybe they plan to in the future. But anyway, yeah, let's compare this to the PlayStation Classic, the controllers, and then kind of go from there. Alright, so here's the PlayStation Classic and the Genesis Mini side by side. As you can see, the Genesis is a tad bit on the bigger side, and well, it really doesn't mean too much in the grand scheme of things, but the reason I had this to begin with is, well, it was $30, and there's a lot you can do with it emulating wise, and it was a steal for it. And considering you got two USB controllers that had plenty of buttons on them, it was also great for using it on a computer as well, for Steam games or just platformers in general, any emulators you might have on a computer. Yeah, this is just kind of a side-by-side comparison I want to show here, and we're going to move on to the controllers next. So here on the left you got the new Genesis Mini controller, and then on the right you have my original one from the Model 1 back in the early 90s. And this one has seen some better days, and I remember this wire being exposed for a long time. It still would connect, but it's at the point now where it's just really having trouble using it. So Retrobit was going to save me with the original Genesis. But anyway, we're talking about the current Genesis Mini, and everything feels exactly the same as you would remember. The buttons feel the same, start button is the same, and the weight is pretty... I couldn't even tell you what the difference might be, if there is one. If anything, maybe this one's a slight heavier feel to it. I think at this point with this one, the technology inside has gotten to a point where we can minimize it and not have a hefty device. And take a look here on the back, looks exactly the same. You got the 6 screws on each side, and I'm sure Spawn Wave will open these at some point. And you got the same exact Sega imprint on the back here, and I'll just kind of bring this up closer, maybe you'll focus in a little bit. There you go. So it looks exactly the same as it did before. And that's the original 3-button controller. Now, in Japan, they got the 6 buttons with the Mega Drive. We did not. And when you're playing a game like Street Fighter, 6-button controllers are necessary. And I would say Mortal Kombat even too, because you got the high kick, low kick, blocks, and all that stuff. Let's compare the 6-button controllers. We got the original one from the Genesis, and then the Retrobit one, which we'll be doing a giveaway for. And stay tuned to the end to find out how to enter. Let's check them out. Alright, so for the Retrobit one, I went with the clear blue model just because, well, I don't have anything like that from Sega, and it's really cool. In terms of feel, I prefer the Retrobit one. Now, I couldn't tell you how long this has been around because I didn't have this originally. I actually got this probably 4 years ago. It's alright too, but again, exposed wire, which seemed to be a problem back in the 90s. But the cord's a little smaller too. This is awesome because it not only works with the Genesis Mini, but it also works with the Switch, PC, and all that. And the gameplay footage I have at the very end of this video was using this controller here. So I stand by it. It's an awesome controller. D-pad's amazing. You got the 6 buttons. In fact, you even have shoulder buttons on the top, so that will help with Switch games too. Overall, this is going to be an awesome way to play with the Genesis Mini. Of course, with Street Fighter, this is definitely necessary. Virtua Fighter 2, we're probably not going to touch because you need the Sega Saturn version. Alright, we're going to move on. We're going to play some games. Let's go. So immediately you're welcomed by the menu screen here, and we're just... Let's click Italian. I sure did. This will be fun. Let's jump into this. Good lord, that was lucky. Well, you already saw one cool thing there. So when you change the language or when you change the region, you get the different box arts, and that's something I did want to go over, so it was kind of fortunate that actually happened. It's a very awesome background music kind of going on, and I know one thing I wanted to kind of show off that I know has been showed off before, but in case you haven't seen it, take a game like, where's that, Castlevania Bloodlines, right here. So, you got it here, but in Japan it's a little different. So, you even got the different name for it. You got Rockman over here instead of Mega Man, which is, by the way, awesome that Mega Man Wily Wars is on here, because that did not release stateside in a physical form. So let's get back here, get back to English. First game we're gonna jump into Sonic, and game start. And we won't get to the end of this, it should only take a couple more seconds. And we'll jump into a different game, because you know, you've seen Sonic played 300,000 times, you've probably done it 300,000 times. But, you know, Sonic is a game that got me into, you know, just gaming in general. The earliest thing I remember having was the Sega Genesis, and Sonic was the game I played, and Sonic was the character I loved. And it was just great. We're going to jump into another game that we had growing up. It's called Road Rash 2. Get some of the weapons in there, so there's a chain you can get. It's pretty much like the Golden Gun and GoldenEye, where it's pretty much like a one-hit KO. And that's when things get pretty awesome. So you can even get pulled over here, and you also get slammed into a car. So when I see another car, I'll get some air, because these, see if I can get the car. Bam! Oh, see, sometimes they'll go flying over the car. It's really cool too, but... Alright, so there's only 3 of them here. Got that. And I'm just gonna go with the black screen here. It's of Illusion. This is a game I never had as a kid, never played it, and I didn't get the remake on the 360. It wasn't really a remake, it was just a port. And I believe I'm at the end. Alright. Music's fun. I like it. Nice and relaxing. And I died. It's like, where the heck did it go? Alright. Kept calm. I am terrible at Street Fighter. Mortal Kombat can kind of fake my way through, but Street Fighter is just kind of like a whole new other level for me. There it is. It's like, I know how to do this. Hadouken! So I know the Hurricane Kick and the Hadouken. I missed. There we go. Oh. Wow. You got it from there. What? That's what I'm trying to do. There it is. Yeah, so you kind of gotta like roll the down forward rather. There it is. Finished. That easy. The Tetris, because I haven't played this version because I didn't know it existed until they announced the games. Apparently only 10 versions of this game exist. And Tetris for me, oh lord. Ah man, I like the Game Boy music the best, and I think everybody does, it's classic. And I remember when I was sick one day, my mom came home with a Game Boy. Ooh man. And Tetris, of course, was included, just like everyone else's Tetris. Oh, jeez. I can see why this didn't make it, because the button presses aren't really responsive. Man, and it's funny because then they are responsive when you like press down. They just fly down. So I'm trying to press these to kind of spin it, but it's just not working right away, man. I got this. Yeah, buddy. Alright, now I gotta get a situation to prove that I am a good Tetris player. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Now I'm about to make something happen here. Maybe. Jeez, man. Alright, what the thing? Give me a chance. Alright, whatever. We're gonna end with Mega Man because, you know, by the time I played Mega Man, I was an adult, and boy, was this game is still hard. It's not an easy game to play, and I have never beaten a Mega Man game. I can honestly say that. Or I guess just the original version in general. Well, notice this is very different. You have that like background wall, which is definitely not there. Ah, shoot. Man, this guy is tricky. Oh, how do you know I was jumping before I did? That's not cool. Difficulty? Alright, now I'm just getting cocky here. And there we go! Finally! See, I knew I could do it. Alright. So, this is the Sega Genesis Mini. And I gotta tell you what, there's games on here. I just kind of went through the games I kind of played mostly, for the most part. Mega Man just a little bit. Mickey Mouse, didn't really play that. But, you know, the thing is here, I love this thing. And the thing is, it's just filled with so many games, and I was looking for the boxes out of reach. I'm just looking forward to really diving into some games. Landstalker is the one game I'm probably going to immediately start off with, because I didn't get a chance to play that as a kid, and I do have it on the Switch with the Sega Genesis collection, but I want to play it for real, just sitting down, holding the Genesis controller and playing it the way it was meant to be played. And of course, that would be buying the cartridge itself, but I gotta play it on my HD TV. Come on, you gotta do that. Overall, I'm a big Sega fan growing up. For what I had, I didn't have much. I had the Sonic games, I had some of the games that you'll see at the end of this video, but this was just a dream come true. That I'm so glad that Sega finally did it themselves. They got a reputable company to take care of it for them, and not, I won't bad mouth anyone, I won't say their actual name, but they did it right this time, and this thing is a real deal. If you don't have one, go get it right now. Of course, stick around after the what I want, or wanted in the Genesis Mini, but didn't get, to find out how to get one of these, because you're gonna need to play some Street Fighter, and Street Fighter, I have a feeling, is one of the more popular games on this little guy, so stick around and find out. Until then, of course, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, it'll really help us out. Until next time, party on!
It starts.
Everything the light touches is our kingdom. Finish him.
He's heating up.